Well, name, image, and likeness, a three-letter word with millions of dollars of value tied to it. And 10 students at St. Aug High School, they're learning just how to cultivate that power in a new NIL class. WDSU sports anchor Sharif Ishak went back to the classroom to meet the teachers, lawyers, and volunteers building the next generation of ballers and brokers.
Name, image, and likeness.
NIL.
Name, image, and likeness.
A phenomenon with the power to change students' lives.
Don't want to get sued for that.
There you go.
Dominique Davalier and her family's law firm know that.
I do think it's here to stay at a collegiate level, and I do think it's going to expand more on the high school level as well.
Trick shots.
That's why 5 days a week from 9 a.m. to 10:45, 10 St. Augustine students are closing the books
And in conclusion,
and leaning into NIL.
fan activities, social media.
Everything we learn about this class is what I want to do when I grow up.
And legacy on the line.
Jabari Brown is one of the 10 learning and growing in Mel Cordier and Kendall Crawford's class,
viewership side on the social side,
where the curriculum is based on their lives and their interests.
They love that portion of being able to change the pace of what a normal classroom setting is, mainly because of this NIL component that we have brought in.
Any questions about the presentation?
It gives us like the contract of like what I'm going to see in my future, and like how people are going to pursue in my future.
St. Augustine is a powerhouse program on the field cultivating athletes, and now they're making sure their students capitalize off of it.
My name is Troy. I'm a junior at St. Augustine High School, and I play basketball.
I'm in the Marching 100, and I'm a part of the campus ministry team.
I play football.
My name is Makai.
I'm a junior. I'm a senior at St. Augustine High School.
My name is JP.
I am a member of the Marching 100.
It's a classroom for everyone, whether you're a baller, broker, or just a fan, preparing young businessmen to make deals, read about them, or even just dream.
I do want to recommend
NILSA is such a great initiative because we really do need to equip our community with the resources and tools and access to knowledge needed to navigate this emerging space.
Laker legends and Celtics legends.
And it's already new. The elective has only been taught for the last year, and it already has both Brown and Patrick Robinson planning their futures.
I want to be a sports agent and real estate developer.
The games you don't want to miss.
When I was around 14, because I remember watching the barbershop show with LeBron James and Rich Paul, and my dad made me read all about Rich Paul, everything he does, and I was like, wow, that's what I want to do when I grow up.
I want to be an NFL player, so it's teaching me like both sides of like the field.
There's nothing stopping Robinson from getting an NIL deal because there are no current regulations in high school, but once he gets to college, everything changes, something that was different for his dad. Patrick Robinson, who played for the Saints for 8 seasons.
He been in there before, so any chance he get, he tell me, information I need to know. When he was playing, they didn't have NIL, so it was basically everything was new to him.
But it's not new to Robinson and Brown, who may have something in the works.
Is your next agent in this room?
Yeah, very. It'll be somebody like Jabari.
Me and my best friend, actually, we talk about it almost every single day. He's a football player, and if he, get to that level, I would definitely be his sports agent.
that's the generation before me.
It's exactly that leveled strategy Cordier and Crawford want to see their students achieve.
There's another component now in 2026. You have to understand contract language. You have to understand agent versus manager, agent versus lawyer, all of those type of things. So if they have a clear basis of understanding of what those things are, I think the program will be a success.
Sharif Ishak,
Clash of the Future.
WDSU News.
Look, just being there, I love how invested the students were in the whole program, NIL, and how it's taught to them to where they can understand it. Because NIL, not that easy to understand. I was sitting there like, oh, okay, I understand.
You learned something when you went back to the
classroom. I was learning something new with those students as well. I like the fact that some of them want to be agents and lawyers for some of the athletes in that class.
I love that too. When he said he has to learn the contract language
Absolutely.
and open their mind up to other career opportunities.
Bright kids in that class.
Yeah, I love it. All right, good luck with everyone there.